Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Still Mind channel. Let's journey back in time, 2.400 years ago, to the vibrant city of Athens, where world-shaping ideas were taking root. Amidst the bustling marketplaces and majestic temples, there was a man of simple appearance, often barefoot, who asked the strangest questions. He had no school, no curriculum, and most remarkably, he never wrote a single book. And yet, his name, Socrates, became the very foundation of all Western philosophy. He is called the father of philosophy, the man who brought philosophy down from the heavens to earth, forcing it to concern itself with humanity, with ethics, and with the meaning of life. How could a man who left behind no written texts create such a magnificent legacy? The answer lies in his method, dialogues, and questions that bored deep into the soul, forcing his conversation partners to peel away their layers of pretense and ignorance to find the truth within themselves. Today, we won't just learn about Socrates, we'll let him speak to us himself. Together, we will explore 10 of Socrates' immortal quotes, teachings that, though ancient, still serve as a lighthouse, guiding humanity through the chaotic seas of the 21st century. Quote 1. Know thyself. Our first, and perhaps most fundamental quote, is the command inscribed at the temple of Apollo at Delphi, which Socrates held in the highest regard. Know thyself. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But this is the most difficult journey of a lifetime. To know yourself isn't just about knowing your name, age, or job. It is a deep dive into your inner world. Who are you? Really? Without your social labels? What are your deepest passions? What are the greatest fears holding you back? What are the core values you would never compromise on? In our modern world, it's easy to know everything about others through social media, yet remain a stranger to ourselves. We build a perfect image online, but struggle with the real person within. Socrates reminds us that all wisdom, all right decisions in life, must begin from this root. To captain the ship of your life, the captain must first understand their own vessel. Before you seek to change the world, start by understanding and mastering the smallest, yet most complex world of all, yourself. Quote 2. The unexamined life is not worth living. This was Socrates' famous defense at the trial that sentenced him to death. The unexamined life is not worth living. Imagine someone living day by day on autopilot. They wake up, go to work, eat dinner, watch TV, and go to sleep. They do what others tell them to do, believe what others believe, and chase goals set by society. That life might be safe, but is it truly living? According to Socrates, such a life is merely existing. To examine here means the act of self-questioning. Why do I believe this? Does this job truly bring me meaning? Is this relationship helping me grow or holding me down? Whose life am I living, my own, or the one others expect of me? If we don't dare to ask these questions, we are like shadows, like machines running on pre-written code. The journey of self-examination can be painful, as it forces us to face the truth and our own mistakes. But it is precisely this process that transforms mere existence into a life of consciousness, purpose, and value. Quote 3. I only know that I know nothing. This quote perfectly captures the intellectual humility of a great mind. I only know that I know nothing. In a society that worships experts, admitting our own ignorance is often seen as a weakness. But for Socrates, this was the starting point of all knowledge. He realized that those who thought themselves wisest were, in fact, the most blind, because they had closed the door to learning. Imagine knowledge as a circle. When your circle of knowledge is small, its border with the unknown is also small. You feel like you know a lot, but as you learn more, that circle expands, and its border with the vastness of the unknown grows ever longer. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know and how much there is to discover. This humility is not self-deprecation, it is an openness. A mind that thinks it knows everything is like a cup that is already full and cannot take any more water. Only when you realize that you know nothing are you truly ready to learn, to listen, and to seek the truth. Quote 4. To know is to be, or virtue is knowledge. A core, and somewhat controversial, tenet of Socrates. Virtue is knowledge, and its corollary, ignorance is the root of evil. Socrates believed that no one does wrong willingly. People do bad things because they mistakenly believe those actions will bring them some good. In other words, they lack knowledge of what is truly good. For example, a thief doesn't steal because they love evil, but out of ignorance, they believe stealing will bring them happiness, money, without understanding the deeper harm it does to their soul and to society. By this logic, to make someone a better person, we need to educate them, not just punish them. When a person truly knows and deeply understands that kindness, honesty, and compassion are the true paths to genuine happiness, they will naturally act rightly. Knowledge here isn't just book smarts, but wisdom, an understanding of human nature and the laws of life. It is the most solid foundation for true morality. Quote 5. Listen more than you speak. While not a direct quote from Plato's texts, this phrase perfectly encapsulates the spirit of the Socratic method. Listen more than you speak. In an age where everyone wants to express their opinion, from social media to daily debates, we often forget the power of silence and listening. We listen not to understand, but simply to wait for our turn to reply. Socrates was different. His entire method was built on listening to another person's answer, and from there, asking the next question. He listened to find contradictions and flaws in their thinking, not to defeat them, but to help them see for themselves. Listening is the gateway to empathy. Listening is the shortest path to learning from others. Listening is a sign of respect and wisdom. Nature gave us 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Perhaps that is a subtle reminder of the ratio in which we should use them. Before you seek to be understood, first learn to understand. Quote 6. The happiest man is he who wants the least. This quote touches on a great paradox of happiness. The happiest man is he who wants the least. Or, in other words, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Modern consumer society constantly drills a message into our heads. You need more to be happier. A newer phone, a bigger house, a fancier vacation. We get caught in an endless chase, where happiness is always at the next finish line, a finish line that we never reach. Socrates and the ancient philosophers saw through this thousands of years ago. He argued that chasing external, material desires is to make yourself a slave to them. True happiness comes from inner peace, from contentment. When we reduce our unnecessary wants, we free ourselves from pressure and anxiety, and we begin to appreciate what we already have in the present moment. This isn't a call to live in austerity, but an invitation to live a life of greater freedom and tranquility. Quote 7. Let us follow the argument wherever it leads. This is the heart of the Socratic method. A better way to phrase the original idea is, instead of debating, let's seek the truth together. We often enter a conversation with the mindset of a battle. The goal is to win, to prove the other person wrong and ourselves right. Our ego is front and center. Socrates viewed dialogue as a collaborative journey. He and his partner were not opponents, but fellow travelers on a shared quest for truth. On that journey, if someone pointed out a flaw in his thinking, he wouldn't feel insulted. On the contrary, he would be grateful, because they had helped him get closer to the truth. Try applying this spirit to your life. In a meeting, instead of defending your own idea, work with everyone to find the best solution. In an argument with a loved one, instead of trying to win, work together to find a resolution. When the goal shifts from winning to finding the truth, the ego steps back, and wisdom has a chance to shine. Quote 8. You are entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts. A crucial warning in our age of information overload. A modern phrasing of the Socratic spirit would be, everyone has a right to an opinion, But not all opinions are equally valid. We often confuse these two concepts. The fact that you have the right to voice your view is a principle of free speech. But that doesn't automatically make your view valuable or correct. An opinion is a personal belief, often based on feeling or limited experience. A fact or a solid argument must be based on logic, evidence, and reason. My opinion that chocolate ice cream is the best is subjective. But the opinion that the earth is flat is simply wrong, because it contradicts all scientific evidence. Socrates teaches us to be critical thinkers. Don't rush to accept or reject something just because many people believe it or because it aligns with your own views. Examine it, question it, clearly distinguish between personal opinion and objective truth. This is a survival skill in a chaotic world of fake news and extremist views. Quote 9. We do not live to eat, but eat to live. A seemingly simple statement about food that holds a profound philosophy about the purpose of life. We do not live to eat, but eat to live. This quote highlights the critical difference between a means and an end. Eating is a necessary means to sustain life. But if we make eating the ultimate purpose of our existence, living only to enjoy gourmet meals, that life becomes trivial. Let's extend this metaphor. We don't live to work, we work to live. We don't live to make money. Money is a tool to serve a more meaningful life. Tragedy occurs when we confuse the means with the end. People burn out from work and forget their families. People use any means necessary to make money and lose their character. Socrates' reminder pulls us back to the core question. What am I living for? Make sure that what you do every day is merely the means to serve a higher, more worthy purpose. Quote 10. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. This final quote is a perfect summary of Socratic philosophy, closely linked to, I know that I know nothing. A great soul is a humble soul. In nature, the stalks of wheat that are heavy with grain bow their heads, while only the empty ones stand tall and proud. The same is true for people. True greatness doesn't come from self-promotion, boasting of achievements, or looking down on others. It comes from a deep awareness of one's own limitations and a respect for the vast knowledge of the universe. Truly great people don't need to prove anything. They listen more than they speak. They are willing to admit their mistakes and learn from others, no matter who they are. Their humility is not weakness, but a sign of powerful inner confidence. They don't need external validation because they have found their worth within. That is the pinnacle of maturity and wisdom. 10 quotes, 10 timeless lessons. This is the legacy that Socrates, the great sage of Greece, left for us. He didn't give us final answers, but he gave us something far more valuable, the art of questioning and the courage for self-examination. He taught us that a meaningful life begins with knowing thyself. That wisdom lies not in having many answers, but in knowing that you know nothing. That happiness comes not from having more, but from wanting less, and that true greatness always walks hand in hand with humility. The philosophical journey is a lifelong one. After today's video, I hope you will not just remember these quotes, but begin to apply them. Ask yourself, what is one thing in your own life that you need to examine right now? If you found this video meaningful, please give Still Mind a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next videos on the journey to explore the philosophies of great minds. In our next episode, we will explore Aristotle, the brilliant student of Plato, the teacher of Alexander the Great, and one of the greatest polymath minds in human history. Thank you for listening. See you on the next journey.